I just broke up with my biggest payer on my revenue roll. Hey, you guys, my name is Adrienne, and I am a private practice owner, and I'm also a speech language pathologist. And I want to walk you through how I came to the decision to break up with an insurance plan in the hopes that it will help you. And I want to start by saying I am not saying you should break up with insurance. I built my business on insurance. I love insurance. I have insurance, right? I use it. But when you're in business on the other end, sometimes it feels like insurance isn't on our side, right? So I'll give you a little bit of backstory. I won't mention the plan because I want you to make any decision at all for yourself. But I am in the state of Florida, and this particular plan had been a leveled plan. That means instead of fee for service, which is what most of us are used to, right? You complete the service and then you bill the insurance company and you get money for the service. But instead, this plan gave you money in chunks. So for 60 days we would get one chunk of money. So we would do the evaluation, we would send off the plan and the off to the insurance company, and they would assign a level to the case, right? And that level corresponded with amounts of money. So to protect the innocent and the guilty, I will say, so say a level 5 is will give you $100, and a level 10 will give you 300, and a level 15 will give you $500, right? And so if you get a 15 after 60 days, or actually in the beginning, you would get the first 500 bucks. And that was fine. But then a little bit later, that same insurance company decided, and for actually good reasons, there were some practices that were committing fraud. And so they would say, hey, in order to get this $500 or this $100, you have to complete a certain amount of visits. All right, that's fine. But the thing is, because we work with kids, we would have breaks, we would have absences. Sometimes we would even have no shows. All of that, coupled with if the authorization is even 2 weeks late or out from when you do the eval, we wouldn't get that third payment. So that means we would have completed 6 months worth of payments, but really not get paid for all of that time. But a lot of our parents used it. But what I was finding in my city in particular is a lot of the private practices did not like this model. And so a lot of them were beginning to not take it. So then that had inflated the amount of patients we had on this plan. Okay. And so fast forward to the beginning of this calendar year, that same plan, and I will say this particular plan does a very good job educating their providers on any changes that are happening in the plan. They are very good about communication, and I really love that. But the thing is, they decided to do kind of a hybrid model where they would do a fee for service for the first 60 days, but they would only pay for 12 visits. And then they would go to that chunked leveled model for the next 120 days. So 60 days, fee for service, but only 12 visits. Chunked for the next 60 days and chunked for the third set of 60 days. Well, that's when I started beginning to wonder if this was the plan for me. Meanwhile, social media was on fire, right? I found that on all of the private practice pages, especially like on the Facebook or even Instagram, I would see like all of these things like I can't take this plan. I hate this plan. I And so my first advice to you is to tune out all of that noise. Don't ever make a decision on your business, about your business, based on social media. You must make the decision for yourself because social media will be nowhere when there are repercussions. So if you take nothing from this video, take that. All right. So here are some things I did to start the breakup process. Because, like I said, guys, they were our number one payer, 6 figures. And so well into the six figures. So it was a little scary. So the first thing I did was I literally tracked all the visits from the plan. So if you are not doing that in your private practice, if you don't know how much of your revenue is coming from insurance plan A, how much is coming from insurance plan B, you may be missing out on dollars, or it might just give you information to make a decision. And so I had started tracking the amount of people or amount of revenue that came from this particular plan. And so I was always trying to get a good mix. But because, like I said, that it was inflated, a lot of practices in my city don't take it. We were getting a lot of kids. So the first thing I did was print out a schedule of the week of all the visits. I'm a visual learner. So that's another thing. You have to know how you learn and how you take in information. For me, sometimes just looking at it on the computer screen doesn't help. It doesn't give me all the information. So I printed it out and highlighted all of I'm such an SLP, right? I'm such a speech language pathologist, but I highlighted every single visit so I could visually see what it would look like if those people went away. All right. And then I'll do one more. I want to do one more rabbit trail. The thing about our practices is if you're a private practice owner listening to this, there are only so many visits you have. There are only so many slots you have, and it's really up to you to decide how you want to use those slots. Okay? So I want you to start to kind of flip your mindset from I hope this is going to I hope we have these slots filled to we only have so many, who's going to take the slots? Okay. Then the next thing we did was I stopped taking the insurance. I put that insurance plan on hold. So for any new patients coming in, we said our panel is full and we cannot see any more clients with this insurance. And my reasoning is, and so if parents push back, and sometimes they will, we say, we want to give everyone an opportunity to get intervention or get therapy. So we have to look at our numbers in this way. But we can put you on a waiting list, and when one of our slots opens, we can open it up for you. Okay. But I stopped taking the plan so I could get used to that revenue, that new revenue coming in or lack thereof. But I still had the insurance plan and the patients from what we had already, right? But no one knew. Okay. The next thing I did is I really thought about it. I mean, I really considered it. And if I had, here's how I sometimes make decisions. If I have, and I always like listen to my body. So if I have like fear, or I feel panic, or I feel this rumbling in my stomach, and we all feel it in a different way. All right. So for some people, they're like, I get really hot, or I get for me, it's like I get a super nervous feeling, but you could feel it in another way. So that's a great indicator for me if I'm doing something out of fear or out of panic. I usually have that feeling, and it's my indication to stop. Fear never stops me, but it does make me take pause sometimes because I know myself. Sometimes I want to just act. And when we have this many people on payroll, we can't just do that. So, and even if it's just you on payroll, always take a minute to make the decision. All right. So I thought about it, and I had people weigh in that were on my team. So my billing person, my manager, we all kind of weighed in to say, is this something we can break up with or not? I wanted to hear all sides, but knowing that I am the final decision, right? I'm the decision maker when it comes to that. If you are in private practice, you are the final decision maker with what happens in your practice. All you can do, and if you're feeling stuck, all you can do is take the data that you have, make the decision based on that, and know that you've done your best. Okay. And then, so after we did that, feeling much more comfortable, then we had to let our families know, right? Here are two steps that you can do one way, or you can flip them. Okay. We let our families know, but then at the very same time, we also reached out to our provider rep of that plan and we said, here's what we are thinking. So you can always reverse those. Reach out to your provider rep and say, hey, we're looking at our numbers and we want to know what our options are if we leave the plan. How much notice you need, how much notice we need to tell our families. And so you are all in the know about what the plan needs. Some plans will need 60 days, some will need 30, some will need 90. So you want to know before you start telling families. And then oftentimes, if you're saying these things, the insurance plan may want to negotiate. It's kind of like when I want to negotiate my internet. It's not until I'm actually trying to leave is when they negotiate with me. It's the same way with insurance sometimes. Sometimes. So I don't recommend that you threaten. I don't recommend that you say it in a nasty way. For me, I understand business is business. And I sometimes hear like a real nasty, snarky, like, this is my patients need this. And you can argue emphatically and passionately. I'm not saying don't do that. But what I'm saying is let them know what you're thinking. Is there wiggle room here? And then you make the decision. Okay. And so after we've done all that, we have come to a decision with our provider rep, and I thanked her profusely. She has been amazing. She's been very, very great and good. And we just decided that at this time we would like to move on. They did reach out to us, I believe twice or three times. Hey, do you want to meet with the head of my department? Do you want to? And we graciously said no, only because at that point, I think it's just best for us to part ways. But we did part ways. And they did say, hey, if you ever want to come back into this family, you're able to do that. And that makes me feel so good. And so if you're on the fence about whether you should, you know, cut ties with an insurance company, hey, do what I did. Think about it. Take as long as you need. You shouldn't be in a hurry for these kinds of things because a lot of times when we cut ties with insurance, there's not any going back. Like I've cut ties with a different plan. We still can't get back on that plan. So some options might be putting the plan on hold and saying, hey, we're full with this plan for right now. We can't take any new patients, but we'll see the patients that we do have, and you can make a decision from there. But if you are in network with a plan, you if there are charges and things you cannot necessarily do, right? So I want, like, sometimes people say, well, I don't take that plan. Can they pay me out of pocket? The thing about that is if you're doing that, um, you are in contract with that insurance company. You may want to circle back and give them a call and let them know what you're thinking about doing, or have that patient fill out an opt out form for those insurance benefits. Okay. Well, that's all that I have for now. As you are making plans and decisions for your business, I really hope that this was helpful. I always love to hear comments in the comment section or let me know what you'd like me to talk about next. But until then, until next time, make the decision for you because remember, it's your clinic and it's your rules. Bye.